And now for more insights on the development of the new development bank, we're joined by Leslie Masdorp, Vice President of the bank. Thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Masdorp. So what would you consider as the key achievements in the past 8 years of the new development bank?
Thank you very much for having me. As you know, the bank was a complete startup. It was really an audacious and very ambitious dream of our shareholders way back in 2015 to establish the institution. So the first major achievement, I would say, is really to have built up since then, from ground zero, a portfolio of approved loans today of $35 billion. That represents about 99 infrastructure projects, new projects that were not there in 2015 that have now been built, whether it's new power, new battery storage, new wind power, new solar power, new roads, new rail projects. That's probably the single biggest achievement. The second major achievement, I would say, has been establishing a bank completely owned by emerging markets, obtaining such a high credit rating. The bank in 2018 was able to achieve a AA plus international credit rating from the international rating agencies. What that means is that the credit worthiness of the bank is one of the highest in all of the emerging markets. And then thirdly, I would say it was a significant achievement to provide such major support to our countries during the COVID pandemic, and also to have navigated the considerable change in the macro landscape and the geopolitics of 2022.
Indeed. Well, the new development bank is a relatively new multilateral development bank, and its use dedicated to emerging and developing economies. So during the past 8 years, what were some of the major challenges you experienced?
I mean, I would say I'll probably divide it into two. The first one, naturally, have been managing the new, radically different operating environment associated with the COVID pandemic. In 2020, we had our people stuck in different member countries, in Brazil, in South Africa, in India, and Russia, and so on. So we had to work remotely and adjust to a very different environment where we were not able to, design projects by visiting projects. And we were able to, for example, do our first capital raise in US dollars remotely without doing physical roadshows, which is what you typically do when you issue a bond. So the first major challenge, I would say, was to function smoothly during the COVID period. And then secondly, I would say 2022, when the risk landscape changed quite considerably, the bank was able to navigate that quite successfully.
Indeed. And now you know that the bank is facing still a very challenging global landscape. As you said, the bank was committed to fostering economic growth and the regional economic integration of developing and emerging economies. What do you think are the next priorities for them?
I would say three key priorities for the bank. The first one, most importantly, the new president of the bank, President Dilma Rousseff, who's the former head of state of Brazil, was appointed in March this year. And she's already injected strong momentum and energy into membership expansion. The bank has always had the intention, as you know, we've spoken to CGTN many times over the last few years about our ambition to become more of a global institution beyond just the BRICS countries. And 2 years ago, we had Egypt, Bangladesh, United Arab Emirates join the bank. Uruguay is in the final stages of joining. And as you might have seen in the public domain, Saudi Arabia has expressed a strong interest to join. So membership expansion is part of the core strategic priorities going forward. The second major priority for us is deepening our focus on local currency financing. We will do more loans, more investment into renminbi, into South African rand, into Indian rupee, and so on. We will continue to also lend in dollars, but we will make more use of the local currencies of our member countries. And I would say the third major priority is for us to deepen our green credentials. The bank is very proud of its green and sustainable credentials. We now, by aspiration, have a 40% target every year. 40% of all of our lending volumes will be for projects that are reducing carbon emissions, either climate mitigation or climate adaptation. And here in China, as you know, we have major projects, major offshore wind projects in the Fujian province. For example, we've got right here in Shanghai, where I am, in Lingang, the special economic district, a major rooftop solar project there. So we will be expanding our footprint in all the member countries in the green and sustainable arenas, helping our countries with their net zero targets and the green transition.
Indeed, and we're very happy to see the growing influence of New Development Bank in the world today. Well, thank you very much for sharing with us. And that was Leslie Masdorp, Vice President of New Development Bank.